Hello, everybody. Welcome in. And I saw someone was already gifted memberships. I'm going to have to, is it A Vamos? A Vamos? I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for gifting 10 memberships. You just gifted 10 last night. Thank you so much. That's so incredibly kind. And then after the live last night, we were in Brittany's live, and I was like, that's where I know you from. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. It's good to see everybody. I saw the chat was, you guys were chatting away. So welcome in all the new members. Well, that's exciting. That's exciting. Yes, Candy, you're absolutely right. How's everybody's day going? How's everybody's day going? Sunday, it's always a reset day for me, which every day is a reset day for me, but I usually do a lot of laundry and cleaning on Sundays, it seems like. I don't know if that's what you guys do, but that's what I do on Sundays. Hey, Cheryl Graham. Hey, Crystal. And then, hey, Jan. And I saw that you said you were feeling better. That's good. Hey, Isabel. I love that picture of Bracken with the Santa hat. That's so cute because you had that last year. Just makes me think like we're really coming up on a year. I mean, we are on a year. Like we've had the channel for, I think September was a year. So just a little over a year. I'm going to do a year stream. We really didn't do one, but I want to do one. I think it'd be fun. So welcome on in, everybody. Hey, Margot. Hey, I see ALR was in. And I just see a lot of people. Oh, Mom, I see everybody. Well, welcome on in, everybody. Mr. Rosebud's here. Well, good. It's good to see you. Miss Cheryl's up there. She's always in here first. I love that. I will have to send out, hey, Deb, I'll have to send out a search team if Cheryl isn't in the chat, like if she's not first one day. Like she might not be in right away when we first start, but she's usually always the first. Hey, Lori. Hey, Steve. Hey, Holly. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Candy and Art. And man, Jesus loves me. I was trying to go through all the names, but we got a lot in here, Mike. Welcome in. Welcome, 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 welcome. It's my favorite thing to say, I feel like. I've been programmed to say welcome. I used to work, a lot of you guys know I used to work in a boutique, and that was the thing that like they always wanted you to welcome people in. Sounds right, you know? So I'd always say welcome or welcome in. And now I just feel like I always say that. I always say that now. I would probably say that if people were coming to my house too, I'd be like, welcome in. Yeah, there's Mike. Ooh, Doodlebug. Okay, let me know. Yeah, so Extreme Blonde. Yeah, we're going to show the Courrtv when it starts. They're usually really good about like letting us stream through. So if anything happens and they're like, they pump the brakes on it, I'll just go out of the stream, come back in, and we'll talk about something else. But I'm sure that it'll be fine. They're usually pretty cool. Arlene said we're all here. Doodle Mom said listening, cleaning up after dinner. You got the flu 4 days now. You got the flu too? Oh my Lord, everybody's sick. Okay, well, if you guys are sick, oh my Lord, I hope that you guys feel better. I don't like being sick. That's like the worst. And then especially when you're a kid and you're sick, you know, you can lay in bed all day. Mama takes care of you. That's not that bad. At the time, you think it's bad. But then when you get sick as an adult, you realize, oh crap, Mom's not here to take care of me. And I got to like clean up after myself. So it's always, you know, it's always bad when you don't feel good. I usually will get a little under the weather, like, but I don't, knock on what I say this all the time, but I don't usually get full blown sick. So I got the flu shot. I get it every year. My mom asked me one year if I got it, and I was like, no. And she's like, well, you're going to get the flu. She's like, I've had the flu, Tanya. It hurts. It physically hurts. And my mom was a very strong woman. So for her to say that something hurt her, I was like, whoop, took my car over, got my flu shot. I always get it by like September, August, September. I always get it. It's just, it's something in my mind that if I know moms are always right. So the 1 year I don't go get my flu shot, I'll end up having the flu. And then I'll be like, should just got the flu shot. So now it's just something I just do. But I understand people that, they don't want to, if they don't like to do that. Hey, Ivy, welcome on in. Hey, Kim. Welcome in, everybody. There was a couple like short articles I was going to read to you guys before at least one of the articles we'll go through before Courrtv starts. So they're going to start it at 8:00. And so I have their website up and everything, like the watch live tab. Let me just go over there real quick, make sure it's loading and all of that. Well, it's just showing 32 seconds of this. Let me see. Okay, yeah. It looks like we're good. I just want to make sure that, like, we got it all up. Yep, it should be fine. I know that we've done stuff on Courrtv before. Let me see, actually. Do you guys know does Courrtv have an actual channel, or is it just their website? Because I remember, like, I just wanted to make sure before I'll have Vincent look it up too. Their YouTube? Are they going to play it through their YouTube? Oh, even better. I'll just go over there then. Okay. Because I didn't know if they would like go through their YouTube or if they would go through like their actual website where it has like their live tab. So we'll click it on both. That way we don't, we don't miss it. Okay. So it's going to be on YouTube. Yeah. Because I know they have a YouTube channel. So I didn't know if like, let me see here. Oops. Let me share the screen with you. So this is their like live, like this right here is just their little like trailer for it. But if you like watch the live tab, it just goes to like, it doesn't go to like the live show right now. So I'm wondering why it doesn't, but, and then I have it on this too. So we'll see if it comes on their YouTube. And you know what I'm actually going to do really quick? I'm going to go to Twitter because I know that they were talking about it on Twitter too. Because we ain't gonna miss this. It's supposed to be really good. It seems like it will be. Wonder why it's like, oopsie, did I put it in wrong? There we go. I'm just trying to see. It says, I think that it might be like on the live tab. So we'll check it. We'll make sure that we get over there. Okay. Because it just says here, like on their Courrtv, it just says that it'll it says, Courrtv is following the clues, all new hashtag Courrtv special, the case against Bryan Kohberger. So I wonder if I should do like hashtag. We'll make sure we get there though. We'll make sure we get it on there. Hey, Ompa, welcome in. Hey, Amanda. There's Cheryl. Let's talk about you in a minute. Oops. I didn't mean to click on that one. Yeah, it comes on at 8. So we've got a little bit of time here. I was going to actually read over this article for you, or not for you, with you guys. If you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, though, before we do that. If you guys would like to become a channel member, if you haven't yet, because we've had a lot gifted, I will go ahead and throw the channel membership into there in the chat for you. So let's go over to this article. I saw this, I think it was this morning. Yeah, it was this morning. And actually, I'll keep that to the end of the live. Let me write some down. It says surviving roommate in University of Idaho massacre experiencing survivor guilt and switch schools. So Dylan Mortenson's stepmom, I guess, has come out and just said a couple things about her and how she's doing. So we'll go over this real quick. I like that picture of her and Kaylee. That's a really pretty picture. A year after the massacre of 4 University of Idaho students, the roommate who came face to face with the cold-blooded killer but was spared has transferred colleges and is struggling with survivor's guilt, her stepmother told the Post in her first public comments. Patricia Monroe said Dylan Mortenson is doing okay since Bryan Kohberger allegedly slaughtered Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin on November 13th, 2022, inside 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. There's a lot of guilt because, if someone says, oh, well, Dylan was so lucky, you don't want to take on that luck because all of the children deserved luck. They all deserve to be spared from that, said Monroe, 53 of Costa Mesa, California. Monroe, who was married to Mortenson's father, Brent Mortenson, helped raise Dylan from the time she was 7 years old, almost up until her graduation from high school. She and Brent Mortenson have since gotten divorced, but she insisted she is still very aware of the situation and what Mortenson's doing and how she is doing. Dylan's stepmom said the 20-year-old transferred universities this year, but declined to say which one. Has anyone heard of this, of her transferring? I didn't know that she transferred. I didn't even know that I just assumed that she just didn't go back. I wasn't really sure what she was really doing about school, actually. I just thought maybe she was taking some time off. Dylan came face to face with the alleged killer as he exited the house, standing in a frozen shock phase as the figure clad in black clothing and a mask walked towards her, then towards the back sliding glass door of the house, a police affidavit stated. She then locked herself in her room for the night. For reasons still unknown, she and Bethany Funk, the other roommate who survived the attacks, didn't call the police until around noon the following day, according to Idaho investigators. This is just one fact that social media trolls and citizen sleuths have latched on into slamming Mortenson and Funk since the case case gained worldwide attention last year. They've called her everything from a murderer and a drug dealer to transgender. You never really think about online backlash and trolls until you deal with it. And it's just a really hurtful thing, Monroe said. Yeah, it can be. Yeah, troll. I mean, as a creator, I don't go under scrutiny like Dylan Mortenson has. But, just being a content creator, people say things, and online backlash. Yeah, it can be, if you're not strong, if you're not built for it, really built for it, it could be hard. I challenge anyone to be in a position where they wake up to 4 of their roommates gone and, not even realizing it, she continued. People have to understand that these children are very young, they're just young kids, and it's just very traumatizing thing. I just think people need to have compassion. There needs to be space and time for all the details to come out in trial. Kohberger, a 28-year-old Washington University PhD criminology student, is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and faces the death penalty. Hey, Riddler, welcome in. Hey, Therese. Hey, Aries. Welcome on in, everybody. Yeah. I told you guys what happened with me and with my father passing away. I went back to sleep 3 times. And I knew my subconscious brain knew, but the trauma, like it's almost almost like a curse and a gift from God at the same time, because there's parts of trauma that'll allow your body to kind of shut down and not let you experience that trauma. Just like with my car accident, I was awake for 2.5 hours, I guess, in the car. I don't remember any of it. Not a word. Don't remember a second. But I was talking. I was coherent. That's okay, Riddler. That's not, yeah, that is kind of weird that they didn't like maybe go to the restroom, but they could have just been passed out. Or they could have, like, she could have definitely went to the restroom. And if the, Xana's door was closed, if, okay, let's say Bethany could have went to the restroom right outside of her door because it's on the first level. So she wouldn't have even had to come upstairs to go to the bathroom. Dylan, if she would have walked that way, and let's say it's only lit up by that like good time sign, let's say that hallway light's not on and Xana's door's pulled closed, she may have just snuck in, used the bathroom, didn't turn the light on, just, whatever, and then went back to her room and like not maybe noticed anything. I don't know. But I do know, yeah, your memory shuts down. I do know that I could see that happening, like her going to the bathroom and maybe not seeing anything, or her just going to sleep and her body just kind of shutting down. Let me see what's going on over here. I was just going to look on the Courrtv page. I think it should be good. Okay. I was just making sure we had it on there when I was having Vincent help. So we'll wait for that to come on, but we have like 10 minutes. What was this one about? Oh, the next article was just about them like attacking the DNA evidence, stuff like that. Let's see. I was gonna see if there was anything. Oh, I thought that was something else. I thought I saw like Ian Harsh on someone's live or something. Like almost on Twitter to see if like I could see anything on here. Well, he's trending again. I don't see anything. Has anybody heard of anything over the weekend with any of the other cases that we've been covering? There's stuff going on. There's like audio out for the Caitlin Armstrong case, and there's a few other updates in some of the other cases that we're following. So tomorrow, what did I have? Tomorrow's the anniversary, or I don't want to say anniversary. I hate that word. Tomorrow marks 1 year since the tragedy happened. Basically, tonight kind of marks it, because I feel like tonight, like the 12th, that was the night that they went out and they started, their fun and everything. And I feel like that's just kind of like, it's just very sad. I pray for their families. So that's what I was going to do. So for tomorrow, I thought we could watch the vigil. Like, so Bryan Enton is going to be in Moscow. So he's going to cover it. I don't know if they're going to allow cameras. I wouldn't see why they really wouldn't allow cameras, because you would think maybe the families wouldn't be able to attend, but they would want to give the families an option, a way to view it. So I figure if not, we can just follow Bryan Enton's tweets and see what he says. And then we can watch the vigil from last year. So just make sure you got your tissues. I'm going to light my strength candle tomorrow because I haven't lit this candle yet. It smells so good. They're from my boutique, and I haven't lit that one yet. So I was going to wait and pick out a Christmas one, but I like that one. 1 year. Yeah, Oompa. What happened? Hey, Pippi Longstocking. What happened with Lindsay? Oh, that's about, yeah, Lindsay. I can't relate with with a daughter passing. Like, that's not I couldn't comprehend that. I'm so sorry for your loss. But what I can relate to is the way your memory, you'll be really crisp, and then it's like almost like you hit a brick wall, and everything's like you're like, what? You don't like. That's how I was. I was like, I would remember. I remembered a lot in the beginning, and then it was like nothing, like nothing. It should be on here. We got 6 minutes. Oh, so Chad Daybell is trying to get the death penalty off the table for himself too. I saw that. Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll look at it, Holly. Let's see. Maybe it's still coming through. Was it? Did you do TitaniumBuilt Boo? Hey, Chopper. How are you doing? I don't see it on there yet. I didn't get the email yet. Oh, I didn't realize there were this many people in here. I'm just like chit-chatting with you guys while we're figuring it out. But I think it's on. I think it'll come up once I can go to the watch live tab. Let me pull it up here. Because I think that's what we did before. What did we? I can't remember what we watched. Courrtv was something live. It might have been a court hearing or something along those lines. I can't really remember. Oh. Okay. Don't see it. It's weird. Yeah, I don't see the email. That's really weird. The last one I got was at 7:53. But we can try this too. Yeah, I think I can stream without pausing it. I think so. That's what we usually do, don't we, Marga? We usually try to. Oh, maybe it's because it's Outlook. It's I'll put it in the chat. Oh, what kind of cereal are you eating, Cheryl? What kind of cereal are you eating there? Let me see if I hit the live, because when I hit the live button, it doesn't really, it goes to like, this is only 32 seconds long, but we can see what it does.
Those are images that frankly kept me up at night. That I saw over and over and over, and I didn't realize how significant.
Well, now the time is going up.
How Tucker.
So I think this is the live.
Somehow blames himself for his brother's death. It's not your fault, Tucker.
I think maybe not. I'm trying to see. Trying to see if it'll it keeps wanting, it keeps jumping up. I think this is how they do their live. Very crazy. Thank you, Doodlebug. Observation. That's what I was trying to think of. Remembrance. I was trying to think of a word today. You know how a lot of people will have a celebration of life party in lieu of a funeral for somebody. And I was trying to think, like, what word, you know, because anniversaries, that's usually a celebration of something, you know, and you can't really, you know, I don't want to use celebration of life. So, okay. Okay, this one. Okay. This might be the eye drop lady. I didn't watch that one. That's scary. I knew we would have it. I just, you know, I get a little crazy. I'm sorry, Jan. Oh yeah, Dan would definitely be. She'll definitely have to. That's what I was going to read you guys, but we start doing this. They're going to have her testify. Okay. Did I miss something? Maybe I missed it. Letitia. Chopper, I can't believe people still they still are like talking about it, you know? Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Looks like they're done here now. So let me turn this up. Don't forget to hit the like if you guys don't mind.
The four were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located.
The true crime story that sent shockwaves across the country.
All of us are shaken.
4 murders, and then the guys just running around on loose is a little unnerving.
The victims, 4 college students.
Ethan, Zena, Madison, and Kaylee.
I miss her smile. She was so giving.
Positive and fun, and we love her and miss her so much.
Now, a PhD criminology student accused of the murders.
How you feeling, Bryan? What did you do?
Detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today?
Every inquiring mind wants to know why. Why would Bryan Kohberger do this?
The maximum penalty is death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Plus, the evidence.
On that knife sheath was DNA, likely left there by the killer.
Including those 12 times when he's hanging around this house. You better have a pretty good reason for this.
Guess what? The defendant, the suspect, the accused, what does he drive? A white Elantra.
The way that we have been convicting Kohberger is absolutely appalling and disgusting.
I want all the evidence out. I want it to be clear.
If I'm the parent of one of these poor kids, he is the boogeyman.
I try not to think too much about any of the darker side of the aspects. I just try to stay positive. There'll be days where I have to focus on the negativity, but today's not one of them. I miss her smile, and that she was so giving. When she came home, she was always giving me a hug, always making sure she got a hug before she left the house. Just the simple things. These girls were born 14 days apart. We loved them both so much. It was a great, great story, and I'm sad that it ended, and we lost them both at the same time. I'll never see this car as mine. She paid for it. She felt like this was a super cute car.
It was emotional riding with Steve in Kaylee's car on her birthday. We saw that vehicle at that home each day inside the crime scene tape. Kaylee and her friends Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were stabbed to death at the University of Idaho. And that car was part of the reason Kaylee was in town that weekend of the murders.
When she bought her car, it wasn't her birthday, but it was a gift that she gave herself because she just got a new job. So I remember her being super excited for that and, you know, showing Maddie and driving down there and showing her friends off with it.
Those friends, Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Dylan Mortensen, and Bethany Funk, all lived together in the house on King Road, along with Kaylee's dog, Murphy.
Murphy, you've been a bad boy.
There's a video of all 5 of the girls together in the home posted just 2 weeks before the murders. They're laughing, making fun of each other, imitating each other.
Didn't even do their chores today. I'm just gonna do it. You didn't get out of here. You seriously got to get out of here.
If you look back at their moment, you can actually see their whole lives. These girls really did do the social media stuff.
Get down. Get down.
And these girls, you know, they were everywhere. So people got a taste and a look and a feel of who they really were. I think people connected with that. And then if you go back, you can see, like, I hate to say it, but like the last hours of their lives.
Those last hours included 2 photos posted by Kaylee. On one of them, she wrote, "One lucky girl to be surrounded by these people." According to investigators, that last night, Ethan and Xana go to a party at the Sigma Chi house. They're there till about 1:45 a.m. that morning. Maddie and Kaylee go downtown Moscow, to a bar called the Corner Club. And then about 1:30 a.m., they walk to a food truck to grab a bite to eat.
And then what was the back?
Don't forget to remove the spoon.
The carbonara back of the week.
Here, I'll grab it for you.
Excellent. And then click see rewards.
Enjoy.
And it looks like you do not quite have enough points yet.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
$10.
So about 10 minutes later, the video shows Maddie reaching to grab the food they ordered. Kaylee has her cell phone up as if she's filming the moment. They're laughing with each other until you see them run out of the frame. By 2 a.m., all 5 girls and Ethan Chapin were back at the house on King Road. In just over 2 hours, 4 of the 6 would be dead.
Everybody here? My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. I'm going to be reading from my notes today because I want the information you received to be extremely accurate. The 4 were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time. There was no sign of forced entry into the residence. Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims.
Right away, I think everyone knew this was going to be a big story. I mean, you've got 4 college students taken down at once inside the same home. And the chief comes out pretty quickly and says, listen, no forced entry here. This was a targeted, isolated attack. So most of us thought it should be solved pretty quickly. But that's not what happened here.
We need to make sure we clarify. Have them restart this feed, or...
We arrived in Moscow just days after the murders, and you could immediately sense that this was a community on edge, and you could understand why. 4 young people have been brutally murdered, and nobody knows why, and nobody knows who's responsible. I actually met a group of professors from the University of Idaho. They were out for a bike ride, and they really summed up what the community was going through.
It has deeply affected all our students and our faculty and our staff. And it's been just a struggle to get through this last week. So,
how hungry is this university, this town, for answers?
Very much so. The fact that there isn't an answer makes this even worse, you know.
All of us are shaken. I've heard from people all across the country talking about this tragedy. It's a small college town. We all know each other. People in the community knew these students, so everybody's affected one way or another. And part of it's because we just don't know anything yet.
We also met the prosecuting attorney, Bill Thompson.
Any new details?
Nothing that I can share.
How was the crime scene?
I can't talk about it. Everybody's working together. The investigation is still active, absolutely.
How long they're going to stay here at the home?
Don't know, as long as they need to.
I ended up sitting down with Bill Thompson in his office. And remember, they had not identified a suspect, and a lot of people were wondering, are they going to solve this? And it was one of his answers to me that made me think they know a lot more than what they're saying.
Would you feel safe having a child living near or on campus?
I would, but I say that knowing that many people would not. And I'm probably in a, I'm not probably, I'm in a different situation because of the information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
Coming up, weeks go by without an arrest.
Just your mind has to spin like, okay, what is going on? You know,
Some people can commit crimes, and there is no justice for that family.
What the families and public didn't know about the investigation.
Partly under her body, partly under her comforter, on her bed, likely left there by the killer.
Let the games begin.
Let's get some order now, okay?
You know I got to get my dance on.
Hey, family! I'm coming back to this show. Isn't this just fabulous?
This weekend, it's our biggest Veterans Day sale ever at Morris Home in Dayton. Save 30% on living rooms, dining rooms, and bedrooms. Plus, our American heroes get an addition.
I don't know why I didn't pause that. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was a little annoying. Little annoying. Let's see. I also, well, Emmanuel, Hex is also a IT specialist company. They like for IT, and I know that he works in IT, so that might be why he was wearing that hat. Okay, I thought this was back on, but it's not. But I think it is after this. So, okay.
The life of Alec Murdaugh.
Maybe going up.
It is complicated.
What's going on with him now?
Is charged with the murders of his own wife.
Oh, it's talking about legendary carpet.
No, ma'am. Who exactly is this guy? The evidence is going to show.
Wouldn't let me turn it down. I'll have to just mute it. Oh, they're gonna play it? What, his trial again? Oh, wow. I'm good on watching that again. I was good on watching it the first time. His snotty butt on the stand. Talk about Alec Murdaugh. I'm not used to commercials. I'm just like, what's going on? Because YouTube, I don't have commercials on there, so. Eccles, that's a good way to look at things. Like, oh yeah, I wish the public could give lawyers questions for people taking a stand, because we have a lot. I think we have a lot of good questions too. Oh my gosh, Chopper, don't say that. Not all those trials all together back to back. I would never sleep. I think with Kohberger's trial, they may do something where it's either like a still camera, like a wide shot, or they'll just do it where they like give it to us later. But either way, we'll be streaming it and we'll have the trial, of course. I mean, of course. Yes, Chopper. Yeah. Murdaugh's another one. I know. I mean, like, Letitia's been getting so much clout lately, and that's what she wants. And that's the last thing I want to give to her. I don't even want to say her name, but I really don't like that woman. Question why on YouTube I'm unable to comment. There is no comment section. Oh, there should be. There should be. I always have my comments turned on. I don't know how to turn them off, actually. So you should be able to comment like right under, like before you slide to go to like live chat, like you should be able to click it and comment. Unless something's going funky. We'll see what they say. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. Oh, okay. It's back on. Okay, let me turn it back up for us.
Moscow is a very typical university town. It has a vibrant downtown with places to eat, places to drink, places to gather.
There's not really much surrounding Moscow. Rolling hills of just wheat fields and various other farms. Small town feel. I think that's roughly 25,000 people, give or take a couple thousand.
I think of North Idaho as a pretty off-the-map type of place, pretty safe place, very family-friendly, and to have 4 murders and then the guys just running around on the loose is a little unnerving.
Weeks after the murders of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Maddie Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves, no arrest had been made. To the point that a lot of the students there on campus had cleared out because there was this fear among the community. And even some of the victims' family members had fears that the investigation was stalled.
I had private investigators and different things, and that's why they told me to slow down, Steve. You know, this thing, you know, me as a father, it's never fast enough, and I want to just charge ahead like probably just like a dumbass, but that's what I knew.
What the families and the public didn't know was that the detectives had some significant evidence and leads, including DNA and a potential eyewitness. At the time of the murders, according to investigators, Kaylee and Maddie were on the 3rd floor of the house in Maddie's room. Kaylee's dog Murphy was across the hall in Kaylee's room. Ethan and Xana were a floor below. Across from them was Dylan Mortensen, and on the 1st floor was Bethany Funk, who was in her room.
Dylan will be a key witness in all of this because she's on the same floor as 2 of the murders. And she opens her door 3 different times. Now, the first couple of times, she really didn't see anything, but she was hearing voices. Maybe it was the dog. Maybe somebody was crying or something. She wasn't quite clear what she heard. But the 3rd time she opens the door, she sees this tall figure dressed in all dark colors, and she noticed his bushy eyebrows. And then this man walks right past her.
Imagine what it would be like to be a young woman who opens the door and sees this man all in black, and all you really see are his eyebrows, and he's tall and he's big. And he just killed 4 people with a knife. He walks right past you and out the door. How close to death were you? It gives me shivers to just think about what that is. And that must just roll through her head every single day. Yeah, that's going to stick with a jury.
According to investigators, Dylan described herself as being in, quote, frozen shock when she saw a man inside her home in the middle of the night. She was so scared, she locked herself in her bedroom. But the thing that raised eyebrows is that nobody did anything about it. In fact, 911 was not called until noon the next day, about 8 hours after the estimated time of the murders.
Some people, when they're very frightened, they just shut down and they tend to isolate and hide. And basically, it's a seeking safety response. If she had been drinking or under the influence of something, she might have just shut down because she really didn't know what to do.
The major piece of evidence that the public didn't know about was a knife sheath left behind likely by the killer. It was found partly under Madison Mogan's body and the comforter on her bed. On the snap of that knife sheath was DNA.
So investigators had DNA from the crime scene, and they took the DNA and they ran it through the National Crime Database, and there were no hits, no matches. But the DNA was still useful because you could eliminate potential suspects. And there were a lot of them, not only ones that law enforcement was looking at, but a whole bunch that people online, all those true crime sleuths that are out there, were looking at as well.
I'd made a video a few weeks ago. Jeremy Regan was included in that video, and a lot of people since then have said that he seemed very suspicious or he was the murderer.
My name is Jeremy Regan, and I live just a couple doors down from where the murders happened.
I first met Jeremy Reagan about a week after the murders. He was a neighbor of the girls on King Road. Once people saw Jeremy on camera, many started to speculate that he possibly was the killer. What was it like to be accused of something so horrible?
Offensive. They watched my interview and they said, hey, he's kind of weird. It must be him. And so then they dug into everything I ever did on social media, stuff that my parents had posted about me, taking everything super far out of context. For some people, it was definitely worse than others. I know the various Jacks and Jakes, they got hammered.
Jack Decor and Jake Schreiger. These two guys are the boyfriends of Kaylee and Maddie. As a matter of fact, Jack shared a dog,
Decor
Murph, with Kaylee. So a lot of people are looking at them, and investigators looked at them as well, but cleared them. So law enforcement says these guys are innocent, but the folks online weren't convinced.
There was also Jack Showalter, who was at the food truck when Maddie and Kaylee were there. He became known as Hoodie Guy. So people were analyzing the food truck video, and they thought he looked quite suspicious.
You know, there's been a lot of speculation and rumors. We're the official source of information. Individuals who are being harassed in this situation, people need to be careful.
Another early focus of the investigation was video. Detectives gathered recordings from homes, businesses all around the time of the murders in that area. And one thing stood out, one vehicle stood out. That was a white Hyundai Elantra.
We're looking for that car because we believe through our investigation that that car was in the area during the time of the murders.
According to investigators, beginning at 3:29 a.m., the white Elantra made 3 separate passes by the house on King Road. Then at 4:04, they say it was back for a 4th time, stopping in front of the house before traveling on to do a 3-point turn. It then drove past the house again and out of the camera's view. At 4:20, it was back in view and leaving the area at a high rate of speed.
So everyone's looking for this car, this white Elantra. And there's an officer, a campus police officer from Washington State University, across the state border, who decides to run a list of all the white Elantras on campus. And he finds one. It's registered to a guy named Bryan Kohberger.
They end up finding his car in the parking lot of Kohberger's campus apartment. When they run his name, they find that he had been pulled over twice in the months before the murders, once in Moscow and once in Pullman.
Hello. Sir. I am Officer Loangus. Stops being audio and video recorded.
I was just slightly into the crosswalk, so you know, yeah, from Pennsylvania. We actually don't have like crosswalks.
Oh,
so even if you're kind of slightly, yeah, there's a little bit more leeway as well. Like there are a few lines. Like there's one white line and there's another one. Like there's like a certain margin from which you can actually kind of put your vehicle, place your vehicle.
During the traffic stop in Moscow, Kohberger gave the officer his cell phone number.
Now, when you get a phone number, it changes everything because you get access to it in a different way. That's one more piece of evidence, one more piece of the puzzle. Is it enough to see what the puzzle says? Not necessarily, but you're getting closer.
According to investigators, Kohberger's phone records showed that between 2:27 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. the morning of the murders, Kohberger's phone was turned off or in airplane mode or possibly out of battery, but it wasn't connecting to any cell phone tower.
Sometimes it's not about evidence. It's about the lack of evidence that actually matters. In this particular case, we had a cell phone that was turned off for a very specific window of time. During a window of time where 4 people were murdered, and he is the singular suspect. That means something.
Investigators say that when they looked back at Kohberger's cell phone records in the 5 months leading up to the murders, that his phone was in the area of the girl's home on 12 separate occasions.
This was not just something where he happened to be in the region one time and it's easily explainable. The problem is now you really have to be able to explain that other dozen times the month before. You better have a pretty good reason for this.
Coming up, the arrest.
Hey, Bryan. Bryan, what you doing?
How you feeling?
How you feeling, Bryan?
How strong is the evidence against Bryan Kohberger?
You read the affidavit and you just find out that he was stalking them, he was hunting them. He was just a person looking for an opportunity.
Imagine what happens when you're finally able to get the results of the DNA sample. We got this guy. We've got this guy.
We don't know when and how this DNA got there. I'm not at all worried about the DNA. A father.
Oh, that lady off of News Nation, I can't think of her name. I just don't really prefer her that much. And I usually don't say anything about newscast anchor people, but she had that free agent hat on for like one of the interviews she did. She kept saying, yeah, I'm a free agent. I'm not owned by a company. I'm not owned by a company. And then the next interview she did, she worked for News Nation. So it's kind of like, I don't know, just kind of weird. Wow. Yeah, maybe Mr. Rosebud for sure. Just a thought. He said he must have been searching highs. Heroin is one, murder is another. What more did he do? Skydiving? Maybe we should look for those things. Yeah. Oh, skydiving sounds scary though. I mean, so I would never kill anybody. So and heroin, I would never do that. So skydiving was my only option of the three, and I would never do that either. I'm terrified of heights. Isn't she great Dame Mom? Chanley Painter. I think that she's really grown with this case. I think she's really grown. So this is actually brand new, Jeff. This is actually, we're streaming it live right now. That's why we're going through commercials. It's brand new. It's brand new. Harlan makes a great point. 12 habitual solo night drives to 1122 King Road. Then not a single one for the entire 6 weeks after the murder is interesting. People will say, well, that's because he was at his dad's house, but not for all of it. Yeah, they just came out with it tonight. Like, we're just streaming it right from over at Courrtv. Oh, hey, and Jeff, if you go back, if you know what I mean, if you go back and watch my video, I've never used any of your videos before. So I just wanted to let you know that, because I've watched them, but I've never used them. And it was like a month difference, like the timing of it. So I've just been seeing stuff. So tomorrow, 1 year anniversary. 1 year. 1 year tomorrow. Yeah. That's what we were saying at the beginning of the live. Like, what time is it? 8:30. So right around this time, they were probably, freshening up, getting ready to go out to the corner club and stuff. It's just really sad. Medea, Hillary's guilty. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. And I just saw someone was saying stuff, and I was like, I didn't say that. Alf. What? Is Alf coming back? Is Alf like popular again? Because my brother used to watch Alf. I just looked over on the screen, so I was like, it got my attention. Are you still making videos? I think I'm gonna start making more pre-recorded videos, I think. I don't know. I'll still probably do like lives, but maybe and this is a big maybe. Y'all know we'll be here every night. But if I weren't here every night, I would do like, I don't know, 4 times a week, and then I do pre-recorded videos the other days. That way, you wouldn't miss me that much. Oh, I thought I was gonna come back on, but it didn't. It tricked me. But yeah, if you don't mind just hitting the like button. I like Jan's emojis. What the heck is Alf? I was gonna say, where's Isabel? I always do that. I thought I was here for a minute. Alf was like a puppet character back in the day, in the 80s. My brother watched it. It was a cartoon.
last night in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee.
Mr. Kohberger was taken into custody without incident. The scene was turned over to the FBI Evidence Response Team for processing.
According to a Monroe County, Pennsylvania prosecutor, when SWAT arrived at the family home of Bryan Kohberger, they found him standing in his parents' kitchen at 1:30 in the morning.
Kohberger was found awake in the kitchen area, dressed in shorts and a shirt and wearing latex medical type gloves, and apparently was taking his personal trash and putting it into separate Ziploc baggies.
The DNA found on the knife sheath under Madison Mogen's body was the piece of the puzzle investigators needed. 3 days before Kohberger's arrest, detectives used trash from Kohberger's parents' home for a DNA sample that turned out to be a match to the suspected killer's father.
Imagine what happens when you're finally able to get the results of the DNA sample that you pull from the father. You can just hear the champagne popping. This is a quad murder. That has to be elation in that squad room, in that war room, when they're sitting together and they're looking at each other and going, we got this guy. We've got this guy.
After Bryan Kohberger was taken into custody in Pennsylvania, he met with an attorney who said publicly that Kohberger told him he believed that he would be exonerated.
He is very intelligent. In my hour conversation with him, that comes off. I can tell that. And he understands where we are right now.
Hey, Bryan.
How you feeling?
How you feeling, Bryan?
Even though Bryan Kohberger wasn't fighting extradition, he still had to appear in a Pennsylvania courtroom. I was inside of that courtroom when he walked in, and everyone was able to see him for the first time. His mother broke down into tears. The Kohberger family, they were sitting on the front row of that courtroom. He made sure to make that eye contact with them, and he kept looking at them.
Big breaking news, folks. Just moments ago, here it is, the arrival of the accused killer in Idaho.
It was quite a scene when Kohberger arrived back in Idaho. He was taken off the plane in Pullman and put into a pickup truck, and then a caravan of law enforcement vehicles drove him into the Latah County Jail parking lot where media and even members of the public were outside waiting for him. The next time we saw him would be in a courtroom.
The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Unlike in his Pennsylvania appearance, where Kohberger looked back to see his family in the courtroom, he seemed to make a point in Idaho not to do so, likely because he knew the victims' families would be in the gallery.
I feel like he's scared to look at me in the eyes and start to understand what's about to happen to him. You know, he picked the wrong family.
So once the suspect appears in court, prosecutors release the probable cause affidavit, and this stuff is filled with detail after detail after detail, things we didn't know. 18 pages worth. And at that point, the public got some answers. But more importantly, the families finally got some answers.
You read the affidavit and you just find out that nobody understands exactly why, but he was stalking them, he was hunting them.
The affidavit in this case lays out the evidence against Bryan Kohberger, but there is a gag order here, so we don't know everything the prosecution has. But a lot of people think he's the guy, he must be guilty. But there's a long way to go, and a lot of people think that this case isn't a slam dunk.
It's absolutely disgusting. This guy does not have a presumption of innocence. He has the assumption of guilt. I'm Sarah Azari. I'm a criminal trial attorney in Los Angeles. I'm currently a legal analyst for News Nation, and I am the host of the Presumption podcast. You know, pretrial convictions of high-profile defendants in high-profile cases is nothing new, but Kohberger is a whole other level. And I think not only we found him guilty of slaying the 4 Idaho students, but we've decided that he's going to get the death penalty.
The most significant piece of evidence for prosecutors is the DNA of the defendant found on the knife sheath of the alleged murder weapon located underneath victim Madison Mogan's body.
We don't know when and how this DNA got there. So if Bryan Kohberger is person A and he touches this knife sheath and then somehow this knife sheath is picked up by somebody else, I mean, he could touch it, he could handle it, it could be anything. And then that person then somehow is in this Kings Road home, that is a perfect explanation of how Kohberger's DNA was on that knife sheath. Is insufficient to place him in that home, let alone to place the murder weapon in his hands. That's why I'm not at all worried about the DNA.
I'm Tiffany Roy, and I'm a forensic DNA expert. I work privately in the area of forensic DNA and forensic biology. I've been doing this work for 17 years. DNA can be transferred onto items that people have never contacted and never touched. It can be found in rooms where people have never set foot. He may never have touched that sheath, and his DNA could have been transferred there by some contact with another item or another person. We can't tell how it got there. We can't tell when it got there.
Or it could be there because he committed this quadruple murder and took the lives of these 4 students. And maybe when he was closing the snap, his thumb touched it before he even showed up at the murder scene. And maybe that knife sheath got loose because those girls were fighting for their lives. Now, you take that evidence in conjunction with all the other evidence, including those phone records. Wow.
Investigators believe that Kohberger's cell phone was off or in airplane mode around the estimated time of the murders because he turned it off.
We've been saying it was off, his phone was off. We don't know if it was off. It could have been off, it could have been in airplane mode, or it could have just simply not picked up signal during that time. What's odd, of course, and what's problematic for the defense is that his phone did pick up signal before the murders and after the murders.
Another significant coincidence, for those who believe in coincidences, I don't, is that there's this white car that's driving around and around at the time of the murders, close to the scene of the murders, caught on video. And guess what? The defendant, the suspect, the accused, what does he drive? A white Elantra.
The car is driving around, but then suddenly during the window of the murders, we don't know where this car was. We don't know where it was parked. We just know nothing about the car. Identification of the Hyundai Elantra as like the suspect vehicle, that's a problem.
Another part of the case against Bryan Kohberger is an eyewitness account. Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates, she told police that she saw a man around the time of the murders dressed in black, bushy eyebrows, wearing a mask covering his nose and his mouth that walked past her down the hallway.
And then we have Dylan, the surviving roommate, and she's so afraid that she goes back in her bedroom and locks herself up and then doesn't call 911. For 8 hours later. Okay, that is highly unusual. We look to expected behavior, expected response, reasonable response. That is what makes sense to jurors. Jurors are normal people. So you tell them a story, it better make sense, right? And it doesn't make sense.
Credibility always matters with witnesses. And this witness comes across as credible. Is she flawed? Yes.
Next, the house on King Road.
No one that lives here right now.
And the type of person capable of committing these murders.
Whoever did this, be it Kohberger or someone else, is a sexual domination killer.
Plus, Bryan Kohberger's defense.
If he says, I was in this house before, that's why my DNA is in this house. All of a sudden, you might have a completely different trial.
I've worked hard all my life. I've gone from being a local reporter to becoming a law student to then even going on to...
Okay, I was trying to type in the chat. Yeah, they definitely prosecutors, states, attorneys, they don't like to go after people for DP cases unless they know for sure that they can win. Now maybe Bryan will, if it goes to trial, which I'm sure it's going to go to trial. That's where we're heading. That grand jury wasn't thrown out. I think that he could try to take a plea. I mean, maybe. That's going to be the best bet. If he's guilty, for him to have some sort of life, I would probably want to take a plea if he's the one that did it. Because, being locked up on death row 23 hours in your cell a day is not a life. I would much rather be out in general population where I can at least socialize with people and have that interaction than be on death row. But that's just me. I want to hear the why. Yeah. I want to know the why. I have so many questions, but that's one of the big ones is the why. You don't think he'll plead, Eva? I've seen it. Like even Aiden Fuki, for instance, just this past year, he was hell-bound on going to trial. And then all of a sudden, first day of trial, he's like, I'm going to change my plea to guilty. I was like, what? We were streaming it. I was like, well, I guess we're done for the day. So, you never know. I don't know if they'll even give them that option though. If they have so much evidence, they don't even need to give them that option. But I'm just saying, he might try something like that if he's guilty and he sees the evidence stacking up against him. And I'm sure that they did say that they needed more time to look through some of their evidence. So maybe that's what they're still doing. But if you're not guilty of something, then there shouldn't be any evidence pointing to your guilt. Like point blank, period to me. You know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Anyways, that's just how I feel. I think that the Idaho State Police, FBI, Moscow, the U.S. Marshals, Pennsylvania State Police and their counterparts, SWAT. I think all of those agencies working in conjunction together, they did a good job. They did a good job. 6 weeks, 4 students unalived in their house. And we don't know if there is a direct connection, but as of right now, we don't know of a direct connection. So for them to find them, that was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. You ever notice when it's like a documentary or something, they always have longer commercials? Mm-hmm. Could you be driving around in someone else? Maybe. If you're innocent, you'd have a better alibi. Yeah. Anything would have been better than driving around. I would have said, I don't know, even. Like, driving around, because they're putting them driving around from 11th, so from the November 12th, they said, so it'd have to be before midnight. And then we know he's on camera at like 5:27, heading back into Pullman. So it's like, I don't know. It's just very weird. Very, very weird.
Hey guys, Moscow PD. Hey, turn the music down. Turn the music down. Hello, miss. What's your name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
We've already talked to Maddie once and told her the same thing.
The house at 1122 King Road, where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered, was known as a college party house going back before Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Dylan, and Bethany all lived there. In the fall of 2022, just a few months before the murders, Moscow police responded to a noise complaint at the house on multiple occasions.
And if I do have to come back here, $300-some tickets coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. There was even an incident where there are people at the house, but none of the roommates are even there.
How goes it?
Oh,
Hi, how are you?
Who lives here?
We're not actually sure. You know,
You don't know who lives here?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
We're just here for a noise complaint. So everyone here is trespassing?
Well, no one's here that's trespassing, but no one that lives here is here right now.
So where'd they go?
They're just not here. I have no clue where they went. No clue.
So you guys just throwing a party in their house?
They were here at one point. They're not here right now. I just searched all the rooms.
They left and went over to some other party, and everyone is about to go over to another party. Okay. Who does live here? What are their names? I am actually not sure.
Jeremy Reagan lived near the house on King Road for a few years and saw a lot. Tell me about the house. What do you know about the house?
So when I moved here my first year, that house was not super bad, notorious for like students going in and out partying all the time. My second year, there was a ton of people all the time, in and out constantly. And then my third year, which is the year that all this happened, it was much more similar to the first year I was here. They did have more stuff going on there, but they were definitely nowhere near as loud, as crazy as that second year that I was here.
Does the fact that so many people were in and out of this house factor into the case against Bryan Kohberger?
The fact that this Kings Road house was a party house is a huge big deal because it expands the universe of suspects. Who was there at the time of the murders? What was their connection to the victims? Who had access to this home before? Did they have possible motive to kill? For months, we've been calling this a party house. This is a party venue.
One of the most important parts of this case is that DNA. And what we know is this is a party house. We know that there were hundreds of kids in this house. It could even have included him. And the thing is if he was in this house, are you suggesting that these four know everybody who's been there? I doubt that. And as a result, if he says, I was in this house before, that's why my DNA is in this house. Now we talk about that, and we talk about DNA transfer, and all of a sudden, you might have a completely different trial.
It's not just that the defendant's DNA is in the house. It's on a knife sheath, which is found next to Maddie's body. I'm a former prosecutor. This is game over DNA. And it's not just any DNA. It's single source DNA.
Single source DNA profile is the most informative type of profile we can hope to get from a crime scene. It's a lot of clear information and it's a lot of very specific information. If you're looking for DNA from a perpetrator, that's something that's related to a weapon and a weapon that could have been used in the commission of this crime. It would be a very rare event for anyone else to match with a single source male DNA profile. So it's very strong evidence.
Bryan Kohberger.
After graduating from DeSales University in the spring of 2022, Bryan Kohberger was accepted into the criminology PhD program at Washington State University. At the time of the Idaho student murders, Kohberger was a teaching assistant. And a few of his students came forward to say they noticed a difference in his behavior after the murders.
No reason to connect him to that, at the time, but definitely around then, he started grading everybody just 100s. He seemed preoccupied is what I would have said at the time.
He would come in, be there for 10 minutes, leave, not say much. So he didn't really do that much, but you could tell there was some off about him.
What's still unclear is the prosecution's theory as to why he would want to kill these young people and what, if any, was the connection.
Motive is not an element of crime or murder. But of course, every inquiring mind wants to know why. Why would Bryan Kohberger do this to 4 innocent victims, college students? Could the state go to trial without motive? Absolutely, but I bet they won't. And the problem here is that we don't even have a connection to these victims. Forget about motive.
Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee's father, believes there's a good chance the murderer was tracking Kaylee and/or her best friend Maddie.
I'd be a little bit surprised if there wasn't a clearer touch point that would suggest that he was interested in 1 or 2 of the people more than he was the others.
An Instagram account that was taken down shortly after Kohberger's arrest with the username of Bryan Kohberger was following several members of the Kohberger family. The account also followed Madison Mogan.
I'm Benjamin Mogan. I'm Madison Mogan's father.
I first met Maddie Mogan's father, Ben, at the Mad Greek restaurant a few weeks after the murders. Maddie and Xana both worked there. It's a popular restaurant in downtown Moscow. Tell me about what a beautiful person she was.
Oh, she was so great. She lit up every room she'd come in, and she was just so positive and fun, and we love her and miss her so much.
The Mad Greek restaurant. It's also one of the first places that comes up if you search for vegan food in Moscow. We know Bryan Kohberger claims to be a vegan because he asked for a vegan meal plan at the jail.
So maybe he did see Maddie and Xana at the Mad Greek and sort of became obsessed with them. But prosecutors made a point in their probable cause affidavit. They went into detail about this Reddit post that the defendant allegedly made, calling out to criminals to provide him with the reason why they chose their victims and committed their crimes. Now, I understand he studies this stuff, but this is still a little strange.
Sounds like he's looking for the reasons why people do the things that they do. Maybe to answer the question for himself, maybe to explain for him why he's motivated in the way that he is. Are you trying to figure out who you are, or are you trying to figure out who they are? And in this particular case, I think the prosecutors are going to say, yeah, this was about him trying to figure out who he is, because we can tell you who he is. He's this guy.
I am Siobhan Scott. I am a psychotherapist from Portland, Oregon.
So what are your thoughts about this Reddit post?
I see a theme with him for years in his online writings of going back and trying to make sense out of himself. And I think he was in that category of, I'm studying all this because I want to understand myself. And so I think that was driving his research. There's also, in a rather perverse way, perhaps an attempt to develop some sense of camaraderie with other people and to get a sense of maybe I'm really not the only one who has these thoughts and feelings and experiences.
What do his studies tell you about Bryan Kohberger?
It's not that unusual for sadistic killers to study criminology. We think of the BTK killer in Kansas, the Golden State killer in California. Both had criminology degrees, and the California killer did go on to become a law enforcement officer, and there have been quite a few others. So I think there are three reasons people study criminology. The first is because they're altruistic and they really want to make the world a safer place. So they have good motivations. The second reason is because they're absolutely fascinated by the criminal mind, which can be a fine reason, but the dark side of that is they're trying to figure themselves out. And the third reason is because they have a plan to commit crimes and they're studying police tactics and procedures so that they can become a better criminal. And if Kohberger is the killer, I think those second two reasons would be at play. Whoever did this, be it Kohberger or someone else, is a sexual domination killer. And this is someone that's created a sadistic theatrical production based on fantasies that he's had for many years. Now, the fantasies serve to meet his emotional needs to express rage at women and to have a sense of godlike power, because others' vulnerability makes him feel invincible and their deaths make him feel like a god.
Coming up, the legal battle ahead as prosecutors seek the death penalty.
To have a full defense, he absolutely needs to know that this investigation against him was 100% according to protocol.
Plus, remembering the victims.
Through all this, I hope we can all look through that dark tunnel and see the light and follow that light. And I pray that we have justice someday.
This weekend, it's our biggest Veterans Day sale ever.
Well, that reminded me, because I had that wrote down for Veterans Day. I wanted to thank the veterans, because I knew tonight we might have a, decent size live. I know that tomorrow's going to be holiday, so thank you for your service, or if it's Veterans Day. So past service for the people that are no longer with us, for the families of those servicemen and women. Because I know that there's a lot of people that have lost people due to them being in the military. Vincent's dad was actually military. Yes, Harlow. I said that the other day too to somebody. Latent means invisible, not necessarily cleaned up. It's like naked to, it's like, invisible to the naked eye. That's when they usually will use like a blue star or a chemical reaction. It has like amino acids in the proteins, and it lifts a print. That way they can lift the print from the surface using like magnetic, I forget what they're called, but there's like magnetic particles, and it'll soak into that, and then you can get a print lifted from that. So then they can go and they can test that print, if they have a suspect in custody, or they can go through the house and they can see if it's one of the, maybe the victims or survivors' shoe prints. They can, vet out the people's that live there, if it's theirs, or it could be the killer. So, oh, you're welcome, Ashley. No problem. Yeah, this could be you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This could be anybody's. Your hubby's an Army vet. Oh. U.S. MC daughter and Army wife. Love that. I love that. I went, I remember a couple years, 12 years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I went into a restaurant and I saw it was a veteran with his wife, or not wife, I'm sorry, his grandmother. And they were eating in a diner. And I didn't have a job at the time. I just moved from like one place to another. And something in me was like, I want to buy I want to buy their lunch. And my mom looked at me like crazy, because she's like, Tanya, you don't have a job right now. You're about to buy these people's lunch. So I did that. They were so grateful that I ended up getting a job there. So that's my story. Be nice to people. Be kind.
Team has filed a number of motions challenging everything from the grand jury indictment against him to how the investigators processed the DNA found at the crime scene.
They didn't get a hit for the DNA that was found at the crime scene with the national database. So they moved to a public database, one of those genealogy databases, and they got a hit. And it was for the suspect's father. But now the defense is taking a closer look at that, saying, well, wait a minute. We want to know, and we want to see exactly how you tested all of this DNA to get that result.
What's going on in Bryan Kohberger's case that's very concerning is the government does not want to turn over in discovery what all was searched, what databases were searched, and what records were obtained.
When you're talking about a defendant's right to a fair trial and his due process and his Sixth Amendment to have a full defense, he absolutely needs to know that this investigation against him was 100% according to protocol, and that there was integrity in this investigation.
The defendant apparently has an alibi. Now, a little strange here. They say, his attorneys, that he likes to go out at night and in the early morning hours and sort of drive around, and that's what he was doing at the time of the murders. Couldn't have done it.
Kohberger's alibi is that he wasn't at the crime scene, but instead he was driving around alone. That statement of his alibi doesn't tell us obviously exactly what time he was driving, where he was driving to and from, and why. I mean, we don't have any of those details. He's not saying something that's completely inconsistent with the evidence.
The defense is also claiming that cameras should not be allowed inside the courtroom, claiming Kohberger's every move is being analyzed in a way that's prejudicial. Kaylee's father, Steve Gonsalves, has some thoughts on that.
If you're not a personable person and you give off weird vibes, yeah, you probably don't want nobody to actually see the truth and see who you are and read you for how you behave. You can't hide the truth, man. I'm so tired of the secretive and all that stuff. I want this stuff to be out in the open. I want all the evidence out. I want it to be clear. I want the community to look at that evidence.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
A plea of not guilty was entered for Bryan Kohberger after he chose to stand silent at his arraignment. His trial is expected to begin sometime in 2024.
Kaylee, you will never be forgotten. We will live fight for you every day with your mentality in our mind. We love you so much.
She embodied her own sunshine, and that's when her skies became limitless.
I sent you my heart.
I met Charlie D'Amelio, check!
Most important is love. Like it's the only thing you know how. Nothing even matters except love and human connection.
You know, I'm not a big drinker, but maybe I should have something. You're not a big drinker?
I was lucky enough to be able to explore life with Maddie. Maddie was the best at spreading love.
Distance makes the heart know who we love. Xana was the funniest person I knew and made me laugh every time I spent time with her. Honestly, it's just Xana, you will not be forgotten. You have impacted so many lives and have given people so much love.
Oh, sweet love of mine. Ethan was always someone you could count on to make you smile and cheer up your mood. And I feel so lucky to have shared so many great memories with him.
Minions, tonight we steal the moon. Yes. Sweet love of mine.
Through all this, I hope we can all look through that dark tunnel and see the light and follow that light. And I pray that we have justice someday.
They always that was so sad at the end. Oh man. I know that visual tomorrow tomorrow is going to be really, really sad. I don't know if they're going to stream it. Let me see if I can find that out for us real quick. I mean, if people can look at those victims and 100% in their mind, they think that Bryan's not guilty, then I would just love to know who did this then. And why haven't they done it again? Why hasn't there been any other crimes since he's been arrested? I mean, this is like 7 to 10 government agencies that are working this case. It's not like it was Moscow PD and they were a small department and they were working a quadruple homicide and they, fudged up. They had the FBI, the Idaho State Police, the Marshals, Pennsylvania Police. I know I named a couple other ones earlier, but it just seems like, they're not going after, I fully believe in my heart, they're not setting up Bryan Kohberger. Why would they set up a PhD student? Like if they're going to set somebody up, set up somebody that's a little on the not so smart side. I mean, we're not saying Bryan's smart, but there's other people out there that you could frame for a quadruple homicide than a white 28-year-old PhD student that's going to get his criminology degree at Washington State University. I could think of a million people that is a better candidate than to pick him out of a hat. If you're going to set someone up, set somebody up. Set some unsuspecting, somebody that's not going to have, criminology in their background. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's what I would do. Let's see if there was anything on here. I don't think there's not any hearings for the rest of the month, which is very, very strange because we're used to having one. But they do have to turn in the IGG paperwork, by December 1st, but that they can get an extension if they need it. So I don't know if they will or not. But like there was like some messages that I wanted to read and stuff from the Gonzalez family. So I'm going to save those for tomorrow. And then I have a video from how Ethan's parents are honoring him for his memory after the 1 year. And it's extremely sad. So bring your tissues tomorrow, because that live is going to be a sad one. It's going to be a sad one. I could see that, JB. Like, people think that way. I don't see someone. And then the knife sheath. That knife sheath was put there that night those people died. It wasn't there from a party, from the night before, 2 days before, a week before. Nobody is going to just go to sleep with a knife sheath hanging out in their bed. I mean, you can't convince me otherwise. I'll go to sleep with my cell phone, my vape, maybe a bag of potato chips, maybe some cookies, but never a knife sheath. I would be like, what is this? Because I wouldn't even, if I didn't know what it was, I'd be like, what is this? And I would like toss it off of my bed, probably, like if it was there. Or I would be like, whose is this? And I would throw it away. I don't know. I just wouldn't worry about it, but I wouldn't have it in my bed to where it's like, it was in there prior. So, but I think that's all I got for you guys today. The only thing on here is really they just have to have the IgG information. And then tomorrow we're going to do a 1 year memorial. I don't even know what to call it. Because I know this is coming like almost full circle in a way, so we've got to be here for the 1 year. I thought about even playing in the beginning my first video. It's only like 4 minutes long that I did on the case. And in the video, I show I was a newer creator then. I showed like a New York Post like news article, and it said they're trying to identify the male from the grub truck video that was with Kaylee and Maddie. So I think I named it I titled it like Idaho, something like that. And then like who's the guy in the grub truck video. And even in the New York Post, they have him like circled and everything. So no wonders why people went there in the beginning and was like, who is this guy? Because I mean, obviously they kind of pointed us in that direction. So oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to go back up there. Okay. 35. Your daddy was young too, Ashley. My dad was 47, but your dad was young. No. And then you just had to deal with that OD. Oh, man. That probably brought up PTSD moments. I'm sorry, Ashley. That's... Yeah, they had a lot of like different kinds of little knives. Yeah, some people can't. Oh, it took my mom 6 years before she could even say my dad's name without crying. So I feel you. Like you're the princess in the Pea book. That made me laugh. I was just trying to go back a little bit. But if I was a drug dealer, I'd have a weapon, but I'd have a gun if I was a drug dealer. I mean, really, I don't do knives. Not a chance. If it ever came to taking out for myself, yes. But if I had to pick, like, if you were to like, which would you rather do? Shoot at somebody or stab somebody? Which I wouldn't rather do either. But I would rather, I would be a shooter because I would want distance from myself so I could run. So I could run. And thanks for guys. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And yeah, me and Vince, I need to do a voiceover on that video still. But we saw the K-bar. We saw a K-bar and we like looked at it, touched it, felt it. Not as heavy as I thought it was going to be. I will say that. Like I could have handled it. Like, I mean, not to say the killing part, but you know what I mean? Like I could handle it. I didn't feel like it was too heavy or anything. So, oh, thank you, Lindsay. She's so sweet. She just gave me 1999 super stickers. She said, oh, I could put the little heart. I love doing that now. She says, thanks for being here for me and being my lifeline as I still have a hard time getting out of bed. I know I sound crazy tonight. No, you don't. Thanks for remembering my sweet Kindle this weekend as well. Oh, that's a beautiful name. So young. Oh, there she is. Is that her in the picture? Oh my gosh, she's so cute. That's so young. Do you guys notice, unless you guys have children though, I don't really know a lot of people that were born in like the 2000s. Like, I don't think I think other than my nieces and nephews, that's it. Yeah, I wonder where Scarlett is. Scarlett going to come back? I think she's gone, Willie. I told Vincent, I said, it's been like a month. I said, maybe she decided I like this not being online. She's always on so late. So that's why I was like, maybe she's enjoying it. But maybe maybe her computer just cost a lot. Like today I had okay, so right before this live, I got all my stuff last like Christmas time, Christmas, New Year's. So the only thing that's like the oldest thing that I have is my MacBook, and it's only 2 years old. Which kind of feels a little warm. But I got this keyboard. It's Macaulay. I don't know. We got it at like Micro Center. So I got this keyboard. I've been using this keyboard for a year, and it just broke tonight, like right before the live, 45 minutes maybe before the live. So Vincent went and got me this new one, and it's like an Apple one, so it's a lot nicer. And but I couldn't believe that my keyboard broke. Like, how does that happen? I'm like, I'm not that hard on it. So, but this one's really nice. I've really liked chatting with you guys on this keyboard tonight. I thought I liked this one, but this one, this is where it's at. So I wanted to give Vincent a shout out because he went straight to Best Buy and was like, I was like, my keyboard isn't working. I was like, should I just use my MacBook keyboard? And then it was kind of like, I couldn't see the screen very well. And he's like, do you want me to go to Best Buy? I'm like, you're the best. So I wanted to give him a shout out because, he deserves it. Oh, I can't take this one back. I'm going to try to like see if it works again, but I hope it does it because I'm keeping this one. I'm keeping this one. And Best Buy takes nothing back. I swear they don't. I got a stand for like a phone, and it was during COVID. It was so janky. It was like a for like selfie stick kind of thing. So I wanted to take it back, and it was after the 45 days or whatever, but it was because we were locked up and they wouldn't take it back. I was like, what? It was new and crapped out already. Oh man. I wonder if it's the streaming, really, because my computer screen is messed up a little bit and I don't ever really use it other than to stream. I mean, I use it. Okay, I lied. I use it for every single thing, but you know what I mean? I use it a lot for streaming. Oh, Glowbug, I thought you was already a member. He must have just came back. I know what we do with Vincent. He's the best. I'm telling you, if you start a YouTube channel, make sure that you're dating a person in IT. because they have to help you. Plus, he likes to help because he doesn't want to see me looking crazy. I mean, I do that on my own, so he can at least try to make it look better. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to say my name in the beginning of the live. I always forget to tell you guys my name. It's TitaniumBuilt, but you guys can call me Tanya or TitaniumBuilt, either or. I don't think somebody could read my sign the other day, so maybe I need to turn it down a little bit. I don't know. Once I get a computer, I'm going live and unleashing hell, Willie said. You might have a little following there. Because you've been on panels and stuff. I mean, that's how people start their channels, really, I think. I just had something to say. I was loudmouth. But I'm going to jump off of here. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your evening. I'll be on tomorrow night, 7:15. I think we're going to try 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do an Idaho 1 year recap. Hopefully, like I said, they'll do the visual. Oh, that's what I was going to look up really quick. Let me look that up. I looked up Bryan Kohberger instead of Bryan Enton. And we'll see if okay. It just says on my way back to Idaho, there's a vigil tomorrow at 6 p.m. So local times. So I'll be 9 here. So wait, okay, I'll let you guys know about what time the live will be then. Because if he's going to be there and he's going to do something like for the vigil, then I would love to show that. So I will keep my eye out, and I'll make sure that I keep up on Twitter. So good night to everybody. Oh, that was so sweet, Glowbug, the way you did the KMZE. Don't smoke crack. Unless it's the good kind, But thank you guys for being here. If you guys don't mind just hitting the like button on the way out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're pushing towards 15,000 subscribers. Once we hit that, we're going to do a huge giveaway. I cannot wait. But I think we're going to start doing giveaways on the channel. I want to do something. It's so hard with our friends over in other countries. So if you're in another country, like if I do, let's say I give away like a candle for my store, maybe instead of like me, I don't know, maybe I could try to send it if I can. If I can't, maybe I'll just do like gift cards or something for you guys instead, something like that. That way you have something. And then of course, if you're like a guy and you win and you don't want a candle or something like that, we'll get you something else. But I do want to start doing some giveaways and stuff. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye, guys.